Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who pulls away the closer you get? They seem distant, hard to read, and just when you're about to give up, they do something surprising. In today's video, we're decoding the mysterious ways avoidantly attached people show love. Because yes, they do love, they just speak a different emotional language. And if you don't know the signs, you might miss the very moments that mean the most. They make an effort to stay connected, even in small ways. This might seem ordinary coming from someone securely attached, but when it comes from an avoidantly attached person, it's a quiet yet powerful declaration of affection. You may not get grand gestures, long love letters, or constant attention, but you'll get something else, something subtle but meaningful. A late night message just asking how your day went. A random meme that reminded them of you. A small check-in after a few days of silence. These aren't just random acts. For someone who is naturally inclined to retreat from closeness, these are their way of staying emotionally tethered. When an avoidant cares for you, they often fight an internal battle between the desire to stay independent and the longing to be close. Reaching out, even minimally, can feel risky to them. It puts them in emotional territory they usually avoid. But if they keep the line open, even inconsistently, that's them trying. It might not be enough for someone who craves constant reassurance, but it's a significant step for them. Think about how hard it is for them to express emotion openly. Their instinct is to shut down or disconnect when things feel too intense. So when they reach out after an argument or simply let you know they're thinking of you, they're pushing against that instinct. It's not about the frequency of contact. It's about the intention behind it. When they send you that "I hope you're okay" message, it's not just about checking in. It's a way of saying, you matter to me, in the only way they feel safe expressing. Another thing to notice is how they stay present in your life in the background. They may not always initiate plans or talk about their feelings, but they'll be consistent in small ways. Maybe they keep liking your posts, replying to your stories, or showing up for something you care about. These are breadcrumbs of presence. They're signaling that they haven't forgotten about you, even if they don't always know how to say it directly. And if you respond with warmth instead of pressure, you'll notice these gestures become more frequent. Avoidants test the waters cautiously. They're gauging if it's safe to come closer. Each small outreach is a question. Will you reject me? Will you expect too much? Or will you accept me as I am, flaws and fears included? So yes, it might not be the love language you're used to, but when an avoidant makes an effort to stay connected, they are showing love the way they know how. It may not look like much, but it's brave. It's them reaching through the noise of their fears to say, I'm still here. I haven't let go. And sometimes that's more powerful than all the words they can't quite say. They allow themselves to be vulnerable, even if only briefly or in small ways. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, vulnerability doesn't come easily. Their default mode is to keep emotions tightly controlled, to avoid appearing weak or dependent, and to maintain a sense of independence at all costs. So when they do open up, even just a little, it's a profound act of trust and love. It's a glimpse behind the wall they've built around themselves, and it speaks volumes about how much they care. Avoidants often struggle with showing their feelings because they've learned early on to protect themselves from getting hurt. Emotional closeness can feel overwhelming or suffocating to them, so their natural reaction is to pull away or shut down. But when they decide to let you in, to share a fear, a doubt, or even a fleeting feeling, it's a sign that you've become someone safe in their world. They're willing to risk the discomfort of vulnerability because they value the connection with you enough to do so. This vulnerability may not look like a grand confession or a flood of emotions. It might be a rare moment where they admit they're having a tough day, or a hesitant "I miss you" sent in the middle of the night. Sometimes it's sharing a small personal detail that they usually keep to themselves, or revealing a part of their past that's difficult to talk about. These moments may be brief and guarded, but they're meaningful openings that show you a side of them few others get to see. It's also important to recognize that for avoidance, vulnerability is often accompanied by discomfort and fear. They might pull back quickly after opening up, worried they've shared too much or fearing rejection. So when they let their guard down, even if it's just for a moment, it's a clear indicator of how much they trust you. They're choosing to face their anxiety and uncertainty because being close to you feels worth the risk. Because avoidants are typically so skilled at masking their emotions, these small moments of vulnerability are often easy to miss or dismiss. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that behind their cool exterior, they are quietly wrestling with their feelings to be open with you. They may not say, "I love you," often or loudly, but their willingness to be vulnerable is their way of expressing deep care and commitment. In relationships, this vulnerability can be the key to building deeper intimacy. When an avoidant shares a piece of their inner world, it invites you to respond with empathy and patience, helping to create a safe space where they can gradually feel more comfortable being themselves. Over time, these small acts of openness can grow into a stronger, more authentic connection. So when you see an avoidant person allowing themselves to be vulnerable, even briefly, recognize it for what it is, a quiet but powerful declaration of love. They may not always show their feelings in conventional ways, but in those moments of openness, they're giving you their trust and their heart, and that is as close to love as they can get. They show up when it matters. This may seem like a simple thing, but for someone with an avoidant attachment style, it carries a lot of weight. Avoidants tend to keep their distance emotionally and physically, especially in everyday situations where closeness feels overwhelming or intrusive. But when they make the conscious decision to be there during the important moments, it's a clear sign that you matter deeply to them. For avoidance, showing up isn't about constant presence or daily check-ins. Instead, it's about prioritizing the moments that truly count. When support is needed, when something significant happens, or when emotions run high beyond what they can comfortably avoid. These moments require them to push past their instinct to pull away and to confront vulnerability head-on. And doing that is not easy for them. It takes intention, effort, and often a good deal of courage. When an avoidant makes the effort to attend an event that's important to you, to listen closely when you're upset, or to stand by your side during a crisis, they're communicating something profound without necessarily saying a word. They are demonstrating that their feelings for you outweigh their fears of closeness and emotional discomfort. Their presence says, "I am here for you," in the most tangible way possible. This form of showing love is often overlooked because it doesn't always come with the traditional romantic flourishes. It's not about grand gestures or constant affection, but rather about reliability when it truly counts. Avoidants can struggle with consistency because their natural response to stress or emotional intensity is to retreat. So when they break through that pattern and show up for you, it's a big deal. Additionally, showing up during important moments often means they are willing to put their needs and fears aside for a while. Avoidants highly value independence and often fear losing themselves in relationships. Choosing to be present in a challenging or emotional situation means they're prioritizing your well-being over their discomfort, and that choice speaks volumes about their love. It's also important to note that when avoidants show up, they might not always express empathy or emotions in ways you expect. They may appear stoic or reserved, but their presence alone is their way of providing support. Their love language often leans more toward actions than words. Simply being physically or emotionally there, even in silence, is their way of saying, "I care." For those in relationships with avoidance, recognizing this type of love can change how you perceive their behavior. Instead of focusing on the moments they pull away or seem distant, focus on the moments when they break through their walls to be present for you. These moments are their way of telling you that you are important and that they love you, even if they don't always say it directly. In the end, showing up when it matters is a powerful way that avoidants express love. It may be rare and it may come with limitations, but it's genuine and significant. When an avoidant is willing to stand beside you in difficult times or important events, they're choosing connection over distance. And that choice is one of the clearest signs of their love. They respect your space while remaining present, which is a delicate balance that avoidantly attached people are uniquely skilled at maintaining. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, closeness can often feel overwhelming or suffocating, so their natural instinct is to create distance when emotions get too intense. Yet when they truly care about someone, they find ways to honor that need for personal space without completely disappearing or cutting off the connection. This kind of respect is their way of showing love, quiet, thoughtful, and deeply intentional. Avoidants tend to value independence above almost everything else. They often see too much closeness as a threat to their sense of self or autonomy. Because of this, they might withdraw or become distant when they feel pressured or overwhelmed. But if they're committed to someone, they won't abandon the relationship altogether. Instead, they'll step back just enough to feel comfortable while still keeping a line open to the other person. This means they won't smother you with constant attention, but they also won't vanish without a trace. They're trying to create a safe emotional space where both their need for distance and the relationship's need for connection can coexist. This respect for space can show up in many ways. It might look like giving you time alone when you're stressed or not insisting on long conversations when you're tired. It could mean they check in just enough to let you know they're thinking of you, but without overwhelming you with messages. This balance is tricky for avoidants. They're constantly negotiating their own fears of getting too close with their desire to stay connected. When they succeed, it's a subtle but powerful sign of love. Being present while respecting space also means they're available when you need them, but not clingy when you don't. They won't demand your attention or expect constant reassurance, but they'll quietly show up in ways that let you know you're not alone. They might not always express their feelings openly, but their actions show a commitment to staying in your life without overstepping boundaries. What makes this behavior so meaningful is that it requires self-awareness and emotional regulation on the avoidant's part. It's not easy for them to hold this balance because it involves managing conflicting desires, wanting connection but fearing vulnerability, craving closeness but needing freedom. When they're able to navigate these complexities and respect your boundaries while maintaining their presence, it's a strong indication they care deeply and want the relationship to work. From your perspective, it can feel confusing or frustrating if you're used to more overt expressions of love. But understanding that for an avoidant, love often looks like thoughtful distance combined with quiet availability can help you appreciate their efforts. They might not be showering you with affection or constantly seeking closeness, but their ability to honor your space while still being there is a profound way of showing love. Ultimately, when an avoidant respects your space while remaining present, they're saying, without words, I value both you and my own boundaries, and I'm trying to hold both in this relationship. It's a unique love language, one that requires patience, understanding, and trust. But if you learn to recognize and appreciate this kind of love, you'll see that it's genuine, intentional, and heartfelt. It may not be loud or flashy, but it's steady and real, a sign that they care enough to meet you where you are without losing themselves in the process. They try to repair after conflict, which is a significant and often overlooked way avoidantly attached individuals show their love. People with avoidant attachment styles tend to dislike emotional confrontation and can be uncomfortable facing difficult conversations. Their natural tendency is to pull away, shut down, or avoid conflict altogether. So when they actually make an effort to engage in repairing a relationship after a disagreement or misunderstanding, it's a powerful indicator that they care deeply and want to preserve the connection. Avoidants often struggle with vulnerability, especially during moments of tension. Conflict can feel threatening because it demands emotional exposure and the possibility of rejection or loss. For many avoidants, this is a frightening place to be. They may initially respond by distancing themselves, becoming silent, or deflecting the issue. However, if they truly love someone, they will push through this discomfort to come back and address what went wrong. This willingness to re-engage is a sign they value the relationship more than their instinct to flee. When an avoidant tries to repair after a conflict, it might not look like a traditional apology or heartfelt discussion. They might be awkward or reserved, and their words may feel sparse or hesitant. But even the smallest effort, whether it's reaching out with a message to clear the air, acknowledging their role in the disagreement, or attempting to explain their feelings, signals a commitment to making things right. These actions show that they're willing to face emotional discomfort because maintaining the relationship matters to them. Another important aspect is that avoidants tend to prefer problem solving over emotional processing. Instead of diving deep into feelings or prolonged discussions, they might focus on finding practical solutions or setting boundaries that prevent similar conflicts in the future. This approach is their way of repairing while still protecting themselves from being overwhelmed emotionally. Recognizing this can help you appreciate their attempts at reconciliation, even if it doesn't look like the typical making up process. The act of trying to repair also involves patience and persistence. Avoidants may not be quick to initiate reconciliation because of their discomfort with vulnerability, but if they consistently come back to work through issues, it's a sign they are committed to the relationship's long-term health. They may need time to process internally before they can openly address the problem, so their efforts might come in waves or appear subtle, but they are meaningful nonetheless. Repairing after conflict also means they are willing to be accountable. Avoidants can sometimes struggle with taking responsibility for their emotional distance or the ways they hurt others, but when they do acknowledge their mistakes and make efforts to change, it reflects genuine care. This accountability is a crucial part of building trust and deepening intimacy. From the perspective of their partner, it's important to recognize and appreciate these repair attempts, even if they seem imperfect or different from what you expect. Avoidants communicate love differently, and their willingness to come back after conflict shows that they see the relationship as worth fighting for. Instead of focusing